Have you ever driven across Albert Bridge and noticed this sign behind me? All troops must break step when marching across the bridge. Well, what does it mean and why do they have to do that? In today's episode, we're going to find out. Albert Bridge is my favourite bridge, second only to Tower Bridge. It was built by Roland Mason Ordish in 1873 and has some very unique features. When the bridge was completed, it was found to be structurally unsound. They added certain elements of a suspension bridge to it and then later on two huge concrete columns. As a result, the bridge is a hybrid of three different designs. Surprisingly, it was built as a toll bridge but proved commercially unsuccessful. After 6 years, it was taken into public ownership. However, the octagonal toll booths are left in place and are still the only surviving toll booths of any bridge in London. The bridge was repainted in 1992 in these rather vibrant colours, a sort of pastel pink and lemon yellow. This is to alert ships to its existence so they wouldn't crash into it in poor visibility. But what makes Albert Bridge my favourite bridge is that at night it's lit up with 4,000 LEDs, which gives the bridge a sort of timeless romanticism. It's featured in plenty of movies too, like A Clockwork Orange, Absolute Beginners and Sliding Doors. Also, Albert Bridge, along with Tower Bridge, is one of only two bridges in London that have never been replaced, which makes it a sort of constant. It's actually nicknamed the Trembling Lady because of its tendency to vibrate when traffic goes across it. Which neatly brings me back to this sign here. We first need to go back to the 19th century, to a place called Broughton in England, where there existed a small suspension bridge. On a misty April morning, a brigade of soldiers started to march across the bridge after some training they had done in a local farmer's field. They were marching in lockstep. As the major was nearing the far side of the bridge, there was reportedly heard to be a huge iron crack. In an instant, the bridge collapsed. And the soldiers were thrown into the river below. 20 of them broke bones and had serious concussion, but fortunately, none were killed. Two weeks later, the head of the British Army sent out a memo informing every battalion in the UK that they must break step when crossing a bridge. But why? Why did they have to break step? And why did the suspension bridge in Broughton collapse under their feet? Well, it wasn't to do with the weight and the amount of soldiers crossing the bridge. It was to do with something called frequency. Now, I have a frequency. You have a frequency. This beautiful cabman's shelter has a frequency. Even my taxi has a frequency. Structures like bridges and buildings, although they seem solid and immovable, have a natural frequency, a vibration within them. A force that's applied to an object at the same frequency as the object's natural frequency will amplify its vibration in an occurrence called mechanical resonance. Well, what is mechanical resonance and where have we seen it at work? Well, have you ever put your accelerator down in the car and when it's reached a certain speed, the car seems to get a lot louder and vibrate a bit more? That's you matching its frequency. Also, do you remember when you were young and you were on one of the swings in the park? You used to move your legs forward to try and get more height on the swing. Suddenly you might move them in an instant and you take off like a rocket. Well, that was you matching the frequency of that swing. And one of the most famous examples of destructive matching frequency is when an opera singer hits that very high note and with their power they can match the frequency of a wine glass and actually shatter it. Well, I don't know if I ever told you folks that I'm a trained opera singer. I performed at the Royal Opera House and the Colosseum, along with the doily card. And today, I'm going to try and use my operatic skills to hit my highest note and shatter this wine glass. Okay. Pa 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 pa. Okay, that's enough warm-up. Okay, folks, here we go. Not bad, eh? Pavarotti, eat your heart out. So, if soldiers march across Albert Bridge in unison, in lockstep, they will apply a force. If that force matches the natural frequency of Albert Bridge, the vibrations of the bridge will be amplified. The bridge could oscillate, break up, and crash into the River Thames. Hey, do you remember the Millennium Bridge? It opened in the year 2000, of course, but it was nicknamed the Wobbly Bridge. The Wobbly Bridge, well, because it wobbled. Now, you might say to yourself, there weren't troops or brigades of soldiers marching across the Millennium Bridge in its first year. There were just tourists and members of the public. Well, there were enough members of the public walking across that bridge to connect with its natural frequency, hence the wobbling, and hence why the bridge had to be closed for a year while engineers put dampeners on it. Now, the engineers said there was no chance of the bridge collapsing, but I'm not sure about that. It wobbled pretty severely. I reckon after about 2 or 3 years that would have ended up in the Thames. So there you have it, folks. The reason why soldiers have to break step when crossing this bridge is because it might collapse. Thanks for watching Secrets of London with me, Mark Monroe. Leave any comments down below. Please subscribe, hit the thumbs up button, do all those things, and they've just turned the lights on to the bridge. This is why Albert Bridge is my favourite bridge, and she looks fantastic. Until next time, stay tuned.